Hello everyone, my name is Mad Scorpion and welcome back to The Dawning. So The Dawning has once again come around and it will be with us till January 3rd, which is just after New Year's. That kind of works because that's, the end of the holiday season kind of officially. But aside from that, it's time to get into the main stuff that's different about The Dawning. So, like usual, you will approach Ava and she'll give you your oven and a bunch of other things. But aside from that, there's also Moments of Triumph stuff here that is available and all of that. Progress required for some stuff, but I'm not sure if this is connected. Whoa, that's a bright effect. But aside from that, there is, of course, challenges that are here, and of course, an event pass, as usual, for 1,000 silver or around 10 bucks. The event ends in exactly 3 weeks total from today. So aside from that, it's pretty much the Dawning as usual. So, snowballs, Dawning gifts, and all that, baking cookies for folks. But one way that it is different, actually, is that all of the guns that have since been introduced in the Dawning, including, as follows, the new one, the Stay Frosty Pulse Rifle, that is a stasis lightweight. A bunch of these have a new origin trait, which is a special Dawning origin trait. But at the same time, with the exception of one of them, all of them, since the Dawning Surprise seems to only be, tied into the Dawning event, actually the origin trait also all has foundry options. So in case you want to use these weapons outside of the Dawning, every one of them, including the submachine gun Cold Front, which, by the way, all have been redone with current perks, so in case you wanted an updated role, they are now existing. But all weapons, including Glacioclasm, a high-impact frame Void Amalon fusion rifle, as well as the machine gun Avalanche, have a perk that is now Suros, so, has the Suros origin trait in addition to updated points. But the one that does not, and I kind of see why, because there's no real way to tie anything to it, is, oh wait, that's the wrong thing, the Zephyr Sword. Because that, for some reason, they just haven't been able to tie it to anything, so it only has the Dawning origin trait. Of course, it's still one of the only stasis swords, if I recall, but at the same time, it has also been updated. Don't know if it still has the Chilling Strike, the thing that made it so unique back in the day. But aside from that, it's pretty much Dawning as usual. Everything, snowballs are available to find. There is cookies that can be baked, of course, seasonal stuff. And the Eververse store is once again adjusted for a seasonal thing. For 3 weeks, it'll be offering Dawning stuff in its Bright Dust pages. But aside from that, if you want anything that's Dawning themed, available for the next 3 weeks, but will disappear until the next Dawning in case you wanted your access to any of them. So, that being said, in terms of the rest of the world, now for Destiny, it's pretty much the same business as usual. The season is continuing. Of course, that means new quests to be picked up from Mr. Clovis Bray in the helm. And of course, that means new strikes and everything. Now, I will admit, in terms of strikes, it is still the first week, and Late.gg hasn't updated at time of, well, pretty much at time of video making. So, unless it changes while this is, and I'm giving myself time to adjust and answer, currently, the Nightfall is the Scarlet Keep, which is Hash Ladoon, which, of course, since Grandmasters is still not available, Master is only as high as you can go, which includes the Fire Pit Acolytes, when defeated, spawn Fire Pools, Barrier Unstoppable Champions, Equipment Lock, Match Game, Chat for No Radar, and Mob Champions, Solar and Arc Shields, as well as Lightning Crystals, which is Arc and Stasis abilities recharge faster, but also more damage from both those sources, as well as Arc Burn. So Arc is really going to hurt running this on Master. And aside from that, there is no line currently what the Nightfall weapon drop is currently, but I can say one thing. It is not Mindbender's Ambition, because that was last week. So, of all the weapons that are currently around, I haven't run it. Light.gg hasn't got an answer, allegedly. So, at time, it at least is not Mindbender's Ambition. That being said, though, moving into the rest of the world, Gambit has boosted Infamy, if I recall. Doesn't say exactly here, but I believe there is boosted Gambit Rep currently, so if you wish to actually take advantage of that at the start of the season, if you haven't played any, now is the time to get a jump on it. And for it is Mayhem currently for the Crucible. I almost said Trials instinctively, and I believe Trials should be returning this evening, or it might be either this weekend or the next, it's hard to say. But aside from that, it is Mayhem currently in case you want to just go loose and have some fun. So, in terms of everything else, hitting the seasonal stuff. In terms of the old seasons, we have a moon for the Psyops Battlegrounds Arena in Legend mode. And for Catch Crash, currently it is Skifix, which I think is officially the third boss, which is that weird Vandal thing that has the elemental rotating shields. and trip mines everywhere. And there's not much else that is changing so far for the Heist Battlegrounds. I imagine we got a new location that's possible, but aside from that, there's not much else that we can actually, you know, learn because without going in, so I haven't been there yet, so I can't say for certain. But aside from that, in terms of seasonal stuff, it's time to check out what our seasonal challenges are for this week. So, first we have More Than a Weapon 2, which essentially completes the second week of the story. Then we also have Heist Battlegrounds 2, which is completing Heist Battlegrounds, and it also, what's the word? It continues progress from last week, so in case you've been doing nothing but playing Heist Battlegrounds, it should auto-complete, although it does require you to kill more Death Tongue choristers, which I believe is the glowing acolyte that kills your abilities if it reaches a alarm. So as well, we have Fire in the Void, which is defeating combatants with void or solar damage in Heist Battlegrounds specifically. No restrictions on what from, just void and solar damage. Then, lastly, we have a focus this season, the Seraph Engram at the Exoframe and the Helm, which some people might have already done by now, so that can be already completed for free. Then we also have Cosmodrome activities. In the Cosmodrome, basically complete bounties, patrols, plug events, and lost sectors. Then same thing with Lost in the Legend, complete the Lost Sector on Legend or higher. Now, it will rotate daily, so it wouldn't be the same place that I told you now, but it's a good chance that it's going to be on one of the planets. I always forget where it will be. Then we also have mid-range calibration, which is calibrate, or essentially use, hand cannons, glaives, auto rifles, fusion rifles, machine guns, specifically in the Cosmodrome. Bonus progress for rapidly defeating combatants. And then for our playlist challenges, we have the Gambit 1, Bank, Kill, Repeat, earn points by banking moats, defeating blockers, and defeating guardians and Gambit. For Crucible, we have Freezing Void, defeating guardians. Bonus progress is granted for opponents defeated with void or stasis effects. So, honestly, I just recommend going on Hunter or throwing Silence and Squalls in Mayhem, or just going on Warlock and throwing Nova Bombs all day. Then we also have the Fallen Fall, defeating fallen combatants in the Vanguard playlist or strikes, earn bonus progress for defeating tougher combatants. Currently, it is not a good strike for it, but if you just want to pick like the Nessus one, Exodus Crash over and over again, that's the one that I know is definitely a fallen boss for sure most of the way. But of course, they still haven't fixed a glitch where apparently everyone has a challenge still able to be completed, so there's that. Then into the rest of the world now. Let's see, covered season shit. Eternity. Now checking with the Heirs of Eternity and their reworked thing. Now for our Legend mode, we do have Vex, Cabal, and Crota for Heirs of Eternity, as well as its various modifiers being equipment locked, match game as usual with champion foes. Void Singe and melee health increase. Melee units have tougher skin, and then shielded foes, of course, all 3 shields at any time. Then into the Throne World for our rotation things. Now, of course, Spire the Watcher is currently still the pinnacle thing, so in case you want to do anything for that, there's the thing. What is... Okay, Finch has stuff for me. But aside from that, Preservation as usual, Vox Obscura as usual, and... Oh, there's a Lost Sector in the Throne World. The weekly mission this week is the Arrival, which is rotating all the way back around. It is the first mission of the Witch Queen campaign. Slightly longer one, but at the same time, something to do. Now, Valor Disciple. Its challenge, currently defense is down, which is, if I don't forget, Caretaker... No, this is an exhibition challenge, which is the annoying one where one person can only kill the knight, so it gets annoying about who has the nut and when. Then into the rest of the world. For our strikes and everything, currently, for our rotations, King's Fall challenge is Gaze Maze, which is the Golgoroth challenge, I can say that for certain. And Master Mode variation is currently... Resilience-focused armor for those that are willing to grind. But aside from that, everything else is on the moon. Currently, our pinnacle stuff is the Pit of Heresy for our pinnacle dungeon, as well as the Garden of Salvation raid for our pinnacle raid, with all challenges active in case anyone wishes to farm. But if you want to farm for the exotic, that is only once required, so I don't really need to do that. Then, that being said, the last thing to check with is Banshee and see what he has available at the weapons shop. And then we are just about wrapped up here. Then we have Percy's D, which is a Stasis Scout Rifle. Pretty solid, high impact frame, first of its kind in quite a long time in the archetypes. But aside from that, it has some decent rolls that can be dropped, but it's not craftable, so of course, you know, all sorts of weird things. And I just noticed that the safety is on currently. I didn't think they would actually do that. And there are better rolls. I know I've had like a Rapid Hit Focus Fury in case you just want a little bit more damage and you're accurate enough, but there is some rolls for everyone. Then Syncopation 53, pretty solid Stasis Pulse Rifle, Suros style, so you can have the Suros Origin trait, but I would recommend that if you want a better roll of this, just go ahead and craft it, as this weapon is craftable. Then we have Cantata 57, a Suros hand cannon, arguably one of the better ones introduced for the Crucible as of late. Pretty solid perks, but this one is a little bit better, you know. Compulsive Reloader just got buffed, so possibly better. Moving target, of course, as usual things. Suros Energy, a good Crucible perk. Same thing with Fugue 55. Now, this role is definitely a Crucible role with Firing Line and 4th times the charm. In case you needed a better Void sniper, that's, I guess, damage-wise, but I don't know who would need that. Succession just brought back. Then we also have Typhon GL5, a stasis grenade launcher with pretty solid rolls that can always come about, but of course not craftable, so sometimes you just gotta grind for it. And then Taipan, field prep box breathing, not terrible if you need a linear fusion rifle, but like I've said, this is craftable. Everyone knows that by now, and I would recommend that you just go ahead and craft it and make the roll you want for yourself. That being said, that is the reset update. I will, of course, do the usual thing of the seasons and cover Eververse in a separate video, and I'll get into a bit what is now in the Eververse store as of that. And then, of course, the seasonal stuff. Most of the seasonal stuff usually collectibles and, you know, dialogue and that sort of thing, so people can stay up to date with the story. My name is Ben Scorpion, and I'll see you in the next video.